brought to you by Bell Atlantic, your guide through the wiles of communications.
Meet Michael Bottalucco from the Practice Thanksgiving morning.
Hello, I'm Wally Kennedy. Meet young women who live in a dorm where cameras record everything they do. Everything. Plus, why did this Florida housewife become an adult entertainer?
If you're looking for a computer, there's no reason to go anywhere else but Circuit City. We've got it all, from software and hardware to printers, high-speed modems, memory, or you can design your own system. And you'll always get a guaranteed low price.
Save $270 on this Packard Bell computer system. With monitor and color printer, just $899.99 after rebates and instant discount. And right now at Circuit City, all appliances are on sale too. Plug into low prices all over the store today at Circuit City.
Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go.
No matter what you have to travel over and through this winter, a Subaru with all-wheel drive is the best thing to do it in. And during the Subaru year-end countdown, you can get the all-wheel drive Subaru Outback or Subaru Legacy with low 1.9% APR financing. Plus, you'll find special lease rates on all 99 all-wheel drive Subaru models. So no matter where grandmother lives, you'll get there. See your local Subaru dealer today, because our year-end countdown ends soon.
There are several places to get the world's best coffee. Now your home is one of them. The Cuisinart Automatic Grind and Brew makes coffee that tastes like it comes from your favorite coffee bar. It starts with the push of a button. The Automatic Grind and Brew grinds whole beans, releasing all the flavor. Then it brews a wonderfully fresh pot of coffee. So why go out for great tasting coffee? Let the Cuisinart Automatic Grind and Brew bring all the enjoyment home. Available at fine stores everywhere.
For an unforgettable holiday season, turn to your neighborhood Thriftway shopping bag owner. You'll find all your favorite foods plus incredible values. And with prices this low, you can apply the savings toward, well, you'll think of something.
General Mills Check Cereal, 2 for $5. Duracell batteries, just $1.99. Or these Duracell batteries, 2 for $5. And Land O'Lakes butter, just $2.99.
Happy holidays from Thriftway shopping bag.
November 18th, 1998.
They were tried, convicted, and sentenced to death.
I went numb, and it was like having my soul snatched from me.
They served a total of 236 years in prison, doing most of that time on death row.
We have a lot of people that will look at all of us being in Chicago, and they will say, well, by golly, it just goes to show you that the system works. That's boo.
And they had one thing in common. Each of them was not guilty.
The fact is that most of these folks walked into court and never stood a chance.
Tonight, dead men talking. The danger of executing the innocent.
From ABC News, this is Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
To begin, it helps to understand that our entire system of government is untidy, time-consuming, inefficient. If you're looking for efficiency, pick a dictatorship anytime. Democracy is messy precisely because it allows so many voices, so many diverse opinions to be heard. So too with our system of justice. There is no question that dictatorships tend to be far more successful at suppressing, even eliminating nasty crimes. Just line up a few drug dealers in a stadium full of onlookers, as the Chinese have done in recent years, and shoot them. It is a remarkably efficient way of discouraging the drug trade, especially when the time between arrest and execution is brief and unencumbered by a lengthy trial or appeals process. It does, of course, result in a few innocent people being killed, but as Napoleon once noted, you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. Our system, on the other hand, has always operated under the premise that it's better for a number of the guilty to go free than for one innocent person to be imprisoned or, even worse, executed. Still, since the death penalty was reinstated in 1976, death rows around this country have been filling up. We now have more than 3,500 people awaiting execution. And growing impatience with what sometimes seems like an endless appeals process has produced some streamlining. And death penalty opponents gathered in Chicago just this past weekend with dramatic evidence of how close we've come to putting a number of innocent people to death. Here's ABC law correspondent Terry Moran.
My name is Dave Keaton. The state of Florida tried to kill me for a crime I did not commit.
I was sentenced to death in 1990, and I was released in 1995.
Had the state of Ohio gotten its way, I would be dead today.
You are looking at a haunting and haunted exclusive society. Every person here was once under a sentence of death, wrongfully.
What's happening is intense amounts of luck. Intense luck that it happens to be that before they're rolled onto that gurney, the evidence emerges of their innocence. That some witness ends up telling the truth. That DNA evidence ends up showing that in fact they didn't commit the crime. That other kinds of jailhouse informants come forward and say, look, I admitted it was all a lie.
Northwestern University law professor Lawrence Marshall organized this anti-death penalty conference last weekend, which held workshops and seminars aimed at investigating and overturning wrongful convictions in capital cases.
With all of our resources, we have let our enthusiasm for the death penalty and our indifference to the plight of people in prison almost kill 75 men and women.
But the centerpiece of the conference was this unprecedented gathering. 30 men and women who once faced execution until evidence of their innocence came to light and they were freed.
We have come together for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to speak out and to stop executions in America.
The men and women on stage here at Northwestern tell only part of the story. There have been 75 people who were sentenced to die and later exonerated and freed in the last 25 years in America. The question that stark statistic forces us to ask, is it worth it? Is the death penalty worth that level of risk?
Americans should lose sleep at night, and at a rate of something on the order of 1 for every 7 we execute. That is an intolerable error rate.
Defense lawyer Barry Scheck directs the Innocence Project, which uses DNA testing to explore and vindicate claims of wrongful convictions across the country.
If you were brought to a hospital and you were scheduled for life-threatening surgery, and some laboratory had to do a test to see whether or not you had a tumor that was malignant or benign, and that laboratory, in 1 out of 7 cases, was just making a mistake about whether your tumor was malignant or benign, well, that lab wouldn't last 10 seconds.
Many death penalty supporters, like Robert Pambianco of the Washington Legal Foundation, believe the Northwestern Conference is simply propaganda.
These radicals in Chicago who are having this conference that we're talking about here cannot point to a case where someone who was innocent was put to death. These 74 people that you're talking about are all alive. Let's assume that these people are innocent. To me, that proves that the system works.
To be told after that, and to lose your family, to be broken and damaged, to be told after all of that the system works is cruel. It's cruel.
While the prospect of executing the innocent raises broad questions about capital punishment, there's a practical question here too. What happened? How could 75 people be sentenced to death only to be freed when evidence of their innocence was found later? What went wrong, and what can be done about it? Advocates here say the most critical issue is the campaign to cut back on a defendant's ability to raise basic issues after conviction, a process called habeas corpus.
We have to make sure that the court system remains open to claims of error, to claims that mistakes have been made.
But death penalty supporters warn against any reforms that allow death row inmates to repeatedly postpone their executions.
To the extent that reforms in the system need to be made, it needs to be streamlined. The average time on death row has been increasing steadily year after year. It's now about 10 years.
Other reforms proposed here are aimed at preventing mistakes before innocent people are convicted and sent to death row.
Just audio tape or videotape the interrogations. Just do that. And many false confession cases will disappear. Just require that the police audio tape or videotape the interrogations. That's all. Jailhouse snitch testimonies. It is not trustworthy evidence, and the rules ought to be changed to say that if prosecutors are allowed to do that at all, they can only do it when there is independent evidence to support what that witness is saying.
Will the arguments here change any minds? Maybe. There is now legislation pending in Illinois where 9 men have been freed from death row, calling for a moratorium on executions. Amid all the policy debates, however, one abiding and disturbing fact remains. This group of human beings, their struggle, and the terrible possibilities they represent.
We should give great pause before we hand out the ultimate sentence. Because if it could happen to me, it could happen to you. Thank you.
In a moment, 4 men who have spent a combined 40 years on death row for crimes they did not commit. Terry Moran's conversation when we come back.
This is ABC News Nightline, brought to you by Toyota.
Murphy, I want you to pick my wife up from the airport. Her name is Thelma.
I'm Thelma.
Really?
Really?
Camry's extra value package with CD player and 6 speakers and a power driver's seat.
Thanks for the ride.
No problem, Mrs. Burns.
Who's Mrs. Burns?
Did we mention anti-lock brakes? The 1999 Camry. At least the road will be smooth.
MCI 5 cent Sundays.
I need passion, depth, I need intensity.
MCI 5 cent Sundays. 5 cents a minute every Sunday.
Think big. Think Shakespeare. 5 cents a minute every Sunday.
5 cents a minute every Sunday.
I ask for an actor, they send a comedian.
Call 1-800-Sundays to become an MCI customer.
Again?
Call 1-800.
ABCNews.com, the first place for news online. Get your news first from ABCNews.com, on the web and America Online.
I fished this river long enough to know what works and what doesn't. Same for Oppenheimer funds. They've seen up markets and down markets. That's the experience I look for.
Oppenheimer funds, the right way to invest.
Ah, the possibilities Dodge Caravan opens up. It's a cabin in the woods, complete with heated power recliners. It's your own private ski lodge, or your workshop for building one. It's your place in the sun, complete with guest room and breezeway. Dodge Caravan, the world's most popular home away from home. Now get up to $1,000 cash allowance on Dodge Caravan.
In life, there are some things you can time perfectly, and some you can't, like the market. That's why I invest for the long term.
Oppenheimer funds, the right way to invest.
The truth of the matter is, no politician that supports capital punishment, judge, prosecutor, or law enforcement, anybody in law enforcement agent, will ever say that an innocent person have been killed in the United States of America. To do so, it will be a blanket indictment against the system of capital punishment.
That's the sad part is that, I mean, come on, a politician, which state's attorneys are, and judges are because they're elected into their offices, they're going to admit, so they can lose their career as a politician, to wrongdoing? They're going to admit that they executed innocent people, just come out and say, oh, well, we executed this guy, we're sorry. They're not going to do that. They would be a fool to do that because they would lose everything they have.
But, you know, everybody who's been convicted of a crime in America pretty much says, I didn't do it.
That's a lie.
I'm innocent.
That's a lie.
And I think people are cynical. No, you guys are the exceptions.
No, that's what the media and the government want society to believe. If you go into a penitentiary, you won't hear everybody saying, I'm innocent. No. No, that is not real.
But aren't there some crimes, and this is the argument that you get from people, which are so heinous that the Bible commands eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth?
Let me listen to Kirk here. Of the Bible
I want to hear Kirk here.
I tell you, it says right, and Rolando hit on it right away. I don't know what he was getting ready to say, but in the Bible, God wasn't going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if he found one innocent person in it. And what I mean by that is, you know, if there's 75 men here today and people that were on death row, you know, we shouldn't have an ultimate sentence like the death penalty if one innocent man could go to the gas chamber.
I believe that we should have some comprehensive, some very effective punishment system, and there's going to come a day, and that day is close upon us, where we need all our leaders in the country, everybody that's familiar with the issue, that need to sit down and say, hey, wait a minute. These prisons now are simply used as warehouses. Right. You know, it's a business enterprise.
Well, are there any...
Wait. So you said eye for an eye, right? And I want to touch right back on it real briefly. Okay, eye for an eye. Every prosecutor, every detective, every lying witness against each 75 of us sent them to death row for the exact amount of time they put us in there for.
Oh, they'd be the
eye for an eye. Eye for an eye.
They'd be the strongest advocates against the death penalty then.
Real quick. Then it's a whole different thing, right?
But can you fix this system?
Not as long as they have the death penalty. I don't see how you're going to fix something that shouldn't be in place to start with. You know, it's not about truth to this system. Right. It's about getting it done. And it costs for 18 years, 12 years, 14, 15 years, 8 years. It doesn't work.
In my case, the truth were the most convincing lie. That's what the truth was.
This system, you know, as long as mankind, who man is not perfect, and as long as mankind is running it, you can never have a system with the death penalty, ever. That is approved. In a perfect society, you could have it. But anything short of that, you cannot, because all 75 of us that are released, and that's not even mentioning those that are innocent that are still there, just the 75 of us that have been released, they killed us, who we were. We are now what they made us to be. And they can't figure out why we're upset. They can't figure out why we do certain things. Well, you know what? You made us this way.
We are right now supposed to forget. We're supposed to turn the other cheek. We're supposed to go try to make a living. When we fill out the application, then the employer say, hey, you got a 15-year gap in your resume. Where were you?
Are there any reforms which could fix the system? Yeah. Americans support the death penalty. Is there a way to fix it?
Complete abolition. Not moratorium, but abolition.
There's no way to make it better?
There's no way, because we got human hands involved.
It has the power to excite you. It has the power to move you. It has the power to take you places you never knew existed. It is, of course, your Visa card, with the power to get you a seat to Michael Tilson Thomas and the San Francisco Symphony at Davies Symphony Hall. So bring your Visa card, because you can't get in using American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Officer, I want to report a missing person.
Description?
About 6 feet.
Clothing?
Different suit every night.
Personality?
Hilarious, smart, and he always had the best guests in the business.
When was the last time you saw him?
May 21st, 1992.
And what was he doing?
Talking to Bette Midler.
I think we found him.
Johnny's back. Relive television's greatest moments on pay-per-view. It's only on DirecTV. So, what are you looking at?
Do you ever just have one of those days? Well, at Farmers Insurance, everything we do is about getting things back to normal. Isn't that what insurance is supposed to do? Farmers, get you back where you belong.
Coming up,
should Monica Lewinsky be given a book on tape deal?
Join Bill tonight with Victoria Jackson and French Stewart. Politically Incorrect with Bill Maher, coming up on ABC Late Night.
Remember that whole back to basics movement? Neither do we. Lincoln Town Car. What a luxury car. Should be.
Today in our public schools, Donna Smith amazed classmates by making a volcano erupt. A high school trio conquered Bugler's Holiday. Jimmy Adams' Hamlet came alive. Lisa Perez proudly read to a senior citizen. And in Ms. Wilson's class, the students created their own homepage. Success stories like these happen every day. They don't always make the headlines. Wouldn't it be great if they did? Public schools work.
I'm Rolando Cruz. I was on death row for 12 years, 3 months, and 3 days.
My name is Dennis Williams. I spent 15 years in some approximate time on Illinois' death row.
My name is Shabaka Kwalimi. I spent 14 years on death row.
My name is Kirk Bloodsworth. I spent 2 years on death row.
Let me take you back to a moment that is impossible for the rest of us to imagine. And it's the moment at which the sentence of death was pronounced on you. And you heard the word death. What was that like? What went through your mind?
It was like I was in a tunnel. The only way I can describe it, it got narrower. And I do remember when the judge said the sentence would be death, a very horrific thing happened at that time, and that still reverberates in my mind, was the courtroom erupted in applause.
It was like having my soul snatched from me. You know, none of us can see our soul. We can feel it. We can't see it. And so that's what the experience was like for me. And one of the instant questions that raced through my mind is how could a group of human beings do what was done to me in good conscience? How could they do it?
How do you feel about the jurors who made this mistake?
Quite frankly, they were uneducated, and not for any other fault, but they didn't have the information. There's a lot of information withheld from them. Another suspect, discovery from the state wasn't given to us. There was one guy that was asleep in the jury box. You know, I mean, you go through this, you're sitting here, you're going to, this is the toughest sentence you can get in this country. And they're going to gas you, shoot you full of drugs or something, or hang you or whatever they're going to do. And here this gentleman is asleep.
The outrage is understandable. I'd be outraged if some member of my community had been kidnapped, had been robbed, kidnapped, raped, and murdered. But see, the prosecutor are the experts. The police officers are the experts. They are the people that knows better. They are elected into office to do better than jurors, to do better than the ordinary people.
Police department and district attorneys office across this nation has committed a criminal act against every person sitting up here. And they need to be held accountable. We have the right to be outraged.
Let me shift gears. Prison. Death row. How did you make it through the day?
You have to be indignant. I mean, in my situation, you have to be indignant. You got to be somewhat a little insane. You got to maintain a sense of humor, because you are in a situation where each and every awakening hour, someone is heaping some type of dehumanizing process against you, and you are made to constantly rise and dig deep and deeper inside yourself, to not become a plaything, not to probably take your life, even when the odds are down, when you feel rough, and you get these emotions, you want to just give it up. Then that indignant power takes over. You said, damn it, I'm not going to let them do this to me. I'm not going to become one of their victims.
I'm going to fight.
You know, with us, me and Dennis, we were on death row together in Illinois, and guards would sit there and bet that they're going to execute us, etc. They degrade you, like the brother said, you know. But with me, myself, all the negativity, all of it combined, all they were doing was adding more fuel to the fire for me to prove everybody wrong.
Well, I certainly got weary many days, and it's an experience like I still, even to this day, can't liken it to anything other than it's just, you know, it's a form of desperation that, you know, you're on a clock and you don't know what time it is yet by virtue until they walk you into that gas chamber. And I suffered a lot. I'm a very spiritual person. I was before this happened, and it just in-tuned me even more. I think I got so pissed off at the system and what it did to me and my family. You know, 5 months before I was released, my mother died. I mean, you know, she was one of the biggest champions to my cause to begin with.
I also had the passing of my mother.
See?
My father died while I wasn't there.
You know, that's a lot of loss.
It makes you that much more determined to prove them, you know, that, you know, to me, it made me more determined. I worked, he worked, I saw this brother work. We busted our rear ends to learn the law, to learn how to put together defense teams, how to put together letters, how to learn to write legalese, how to write institutions to get them to understand what reality was going on.
But didn't the law set you free?
No. I tell people like this.
The Lord's trying to kill us.
No, I tell people like this. Look, the system is the greatest in the world, no doubt. The driver of the system, there's too many drivers in that system that are corrupt, egotistic, and don't care.
So you believe in the system?
I believe it's the greatest in the world. I've been in different countries and I spoke about it. It's the greatest. It's like a Lamborghini. I always make this comparison, people. Greatest car ever made by man. But if the driver of that car is running people over, it's the most deadliest car ever made. It's not the system, it's the people. The system did not work to get Rolando Cruz out. The system did not work to get Dennis Williams or any of the 75 individuals out. The system did not work.
The most abominable statement that I've ever heard coming from any criminal justice official or law enforcement official is that, oh, we have a Shabak sitting here, we have Kirk sitting here, we got Rolando sitting here, and Dennis sitting here. The system works. The system didn't work. It's not working. It was outsiders that did the work, that made it possible. And I wouldn't leave out God. That made it possible for us to be sitting here talking about our experiences now.
I'll have a special program note when we come back.
Start feeling connected. Stop feeling everything. Start feeling the road. Introducing Alero, featuring the active response system. 16 individual features working together to connect you to the road. Alero by Oldsmobile. Start something.
Ah, it was amazing. There I was, on Kilimanjaro, the rhino. Our eyes locked. Hold on, mate. We were attacked by bugs, the size of grizzlies. Bugs? There's dinosaurs out there, mate. Living, breathing, and a teeth. Right. But did you witness the festive displays and customs of the locals?
Daddy! Where are we gonna go next?
Camp Minnie Mickey? Take care.
See ya.
Disney's Animal Kingdom. Come on, explore.
Welcome to Perkins. I'm Jenny, your server.
I could go for some turkey.
I used to go with a turkey, but that's another story. Anyway, we've got a turkey tortilla wrap, a turkey Philly sandwich, a nice open-faced sandwich, a Country Club Benedict, and our ever-popular turkey and dressing. It's all made with Butterball turkey, and there's plenty of pumpkin pie.
You used to go with a turkey?
Yes, but he didn't come with all the trimmings. I know the type. Like I say, there's always something new cooking at Perkins.
Right now at Simms, get all names you must know on clothes you want to wear.
The largest selection of men's suits, all names you must know, $199 to $299.
A large selection of women's suits and dresses, all names you must know, $69 to $119.
The largest selection of men's sport coats and blazers, all names you must know, $79 to $139. This is not a sale.
Critics proclaim American History X is bound to be an Oscar contender.
All that anger, all that hate, I don't want it anymore.
Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs up.
Well, I came to talk about Danny. He's headed right where you are.
Edward Norton gives a blistering, brilliant performance.
I am out, and Danny is out too.
Extremely powerful and superbly performed.
I love you and you're my best friend, but I need you to understand.
American History X, rated R. Starts Friday everywhere.
Tomorrow on Nightline, independent counsel Ken Starr testifies before the House Judiciary Committee laying out his case for the impeachment of the president. That story tomorrow on Nightline. That's our report for tonight. I'm Ted Koppel in Washington. For all of us here at ABC News, good night.
If you'd like a transcript or video cassette of this or any other edition of Nightline, please dial 1-800-CALL ABC.
Nightline has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABC News, now always on.